Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today I'm going to be reviewing a friend of mine's comic called Flight. It's a part of Sundries #2. This was produced a few years ago by Chris Knox. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own stuff. This is Random Access. It's a full-size 12-page, sometimes color, sometimes not color comic book. The last few months I haven't been doing color to try to catch up stuff, and I'll probably get back to some color in the meantime. It's got backups by Chris Knox and Paul Courtjohn, and this cover is awesome covers by the awesome Jake Quirk, and you can find all those guys on Instagram. You can get my stuff at patreon.com/Alex Turbin. And that's for the random access. But you can go to alexanderturbin.com, and that has Mutandis and all the random accesses and Sirens and Forlorns and all of the different comics that I've produced over the years. Or you can just message me at alexturbin04401 at Instagram. So let's get into this week's awesome comic by Christopher Knox. So he's one of my favorite artists and creators, and he's got a very distinct style. I went through his Space Bear before that, like a few months ago or whatever, and it's very different than the Sundries #2 Flight. It's you can definitely see that Space Bear was done when Chris was a lot younger, and this is a little bit more modern stuff. You can tell that his style has evolved, and his way of looking at things has evolved and changed and whatnot. Let's have some light. Hey, so he's got an introduction in the back page. And I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, I guess there is another intro in the front page, front insert. But let's look at the back, because I think that really delves into the what this really is. Lost in the infinite chaos known as the abstract, the wayward Levine have built a sanctuary on the back of the Skylord. Logan is a prisoner in his own room, forced to draw maps to a home that can only be remembered in dreams. Meanwhile, she whose name has been lost follows these cryptic maps deep into the endless void, only to find nothing time and time again. But perseverance is about to be rewarded. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to unpack with his style and his influences, or what I believe his influences are. I don't actually know if his influences are what I think, but when I think of Chris's work, I think of a Terry Gilliam or Del Toro or a Jim Henson, as far as his movies are concerned, like Dark Crystal and stuff like that. He's got very unique characters and very out there characters, and his style has a unique differences. It's like a dichotomy. It's very playful. He's got like cartoonish characters, and they're very blatantly cartoonish. But then overall, there's also kind of a sadness to his work, which you really kind of have to delve into it to really kind of notice it. That was kind of the difference between Space Bear and I think his modern stuff, is that I think the sadness has kind of grown in his work, and that's not a detractor at all. I mean, the best comics, as in stand-up comedians, are definitely sad at the core, and I think a lot of great comic book artists are sad to the core. Not that he is sad to the core, because if you knew him, he's a very kind of a jovial kind of person and kind of upbeat. But he definitely has a sadness to a quality to his work. So let's get into this, and I'll kind of talk about some of the things that I think about. So this is Sundries number 2. I haven't read Sundries number 1, but I think this is Flight number 1. I think this is the beginning of this story. So I don't feel like you have to read Sundries number 1, but maybe Chris can let us know if you do have to see that. So another thing about this book is that it's silent. And anybody that's watched these videos knows that I'm really not into silent comics. I think maybe the only silent comic that I've really ever liked is Arzak. And really, then I really didn't think it was that fantastic. I mean, it's based on, or rather, heavy metal is based on Arzak, and I love heavy metal. The segment that it's inspired by Mobius, but I really don't love silent comics. You really have to, which is very kind of odd because I'm very a visual person and as an artist, and I think maybe because I feel like there's more interpretation that you have to do on your own, which is fine, but there's also less distinct storytelling, which I am a little bit more of a control freak, I guess, as far as what I want the reader to know and what I want them to take from the story in the comic, and I really don't want there to be any kind of ambivalence as to what's going on. But I really like this. Obviously, it's something completely different, and but let's get into it, and we'll talk about it. So the first panel, you have this flying character. She looks like a Coxodotl kind of character from Southern America or Central America, kind of Aztecian kind of thing. I don't know if that's the inspiration for the character, but it certainly is what I feel like I see. And it's also the hair is a little bit Egyptian, so I think maybe it's a cross between kind of a bunch of different societies and stuff, like civilizations and stuff like that he's really kind of working on. But even that, taking that into account, it really he makes everything his own. He may take things from Aztec or Egyptian or whatever, but he molds it, he turns it upside down, and he really makes it his own. Which we all do as comic creators. We all take inspiration from things, and then we change it to what we think we would like to see or whatever. So this character is flying through the air, and there's rain coming from the clouds, and she's kind of flying around, going into the clouds, I guess. But as she's going over the clouds, she's flying over the clouds to get away from the rain. I think that's what's happening. And she sees in the distance a giant moving creature, and she decides to go flying towards it. And she goes closer and closer, and you see that it's not only is it a giant creature, but it's a habitat. It's some sort of snowy habitat with a cloud above it, which is very intriguing. One of the words that I would use in Chris's work is intriguing. It gets your mind rolling from the different possibilities of what could be going on, and sending your own imagination into hyperdrive. That's really what he does. Kind of very much like I said, very, very much like Terry Gilliam, just doing his all kinds of weird stuff, and just exploring the imagination, really just exploring imagination, and doing different things, and experimenting. That Chris is a huge experimenter, and I really love that. I also love the pink sky. He could have gone with this bluish, grayish thing, but this bright pink, I really think that's a beautiful, beautiful choice, especially because you go into the wintry waste on top of the creature's head, and it really is it's a nice contrast with the bright pink sky. So you have the wintry waste on top of the giant's head that's walking around, and you have some wildlife. You have a dog and a turkey, which shout out to turkeys because I love turkeys. We have a whole bunch of wild turkeys that show up every year. But anyway, the dog's going after the turkey, and then you go back to this flying creature who I believe is Levine has built a sanctuary in the back of the Skylord. She whose name has been lost. I think this is she whose name has been lost. So that's really why I love this in the background, on the back of the issue. It really kind of gives you a feel for what's going on in the story, and you're not just thrown into this story and you're like, what's going on? You're really kind of given a direction, which is really all you need, because as the story unfolds and progresses, you get deeper into what's going on. And she whose name has been lost goes into the city of or the building of the giant walking creature, and she flies into, or she doesn't fly into it, she just flies around. And this is I don't know, a sculptor. He's a sculptor of some sort, and he's creating something. Is that on the back? Wayward Levine has built a sanctuary on the back of the Skylord. Logan is a prisoner in his own room, forced to draw maps. Nope, that's later on. So this is a character that we haven't seen or heard about yet, and I think it's just all of these different characters living in the giant sky city, and they all kind of go to their window and see she whose name has been lost fly around, and she's looking for something. Here's the map maker. So this is, as I said, it's very a cartoony kind of style that Chris has, but then there's a sadness that permeates over pretty much everything, and it's hard to pinpoint or to pin down exactly what it is. It's not really necessarily it's more like a life is sad kind of thing, not so much as a specific event or a specific things that happening. It's more like just an overall kind of harshness of reality going on. This is the kid drawing maps, and he throws his table over and just has a nervous breakdown is what it looks like. So she whose name has been lost continues to fly over the city, the creature. I'm not entirely sure where this is. If this is she flies into here, I think maybe, and then this is inside a room, one of the rooms in this other tower, and then she flies over the tower, and there's another city, and then we have another character. So she's really kind of an introduction to other characters and other storylines. And so we finally have some dialogue here, and this king guy or whoever is dying in his bed, or it looks like he's dying, and you have these weird, fanciful characters, and he says, she has returned too soon, come back too soon. I'm not really sure what that means. But she flies away, and she flies to this, she's flying overhead, I guess. And this is a back alley. Maybe they're doing drugs. It looks like they're some sort of bad, seedy characters who are doing drugs, maybe. I'm not sure. Chris, you might have to explain a few things to the audience. Maybe what's going on. Or not. I think maybe you like having things a little ambivalent, as I've said, to challenge people's perspective, and that's a great thing too. So if you want to chime in and kind of clarify a few things as to what's going on, that would be awesome. But if you don't, that's perfectly cool too. So the drug guy or whoever it is, the seedy person. He looks seedy to me. Uh-oh, that ain't good. Was it, Tom? We all out of junk? Oh, Tracy, you hopeless. Wait, too cool. Where are you going? Herm. You gotta love the herm. I haven't put that in any of my comics, but I think I will after that's a Rorschach thing, and I think Batman does that in Batman Returns. So you have the... All right, so I understand a little bit more now. You don't really see the cityscape. See, here's the creature, and he has the city on top of him, and he has the tower, but below that is the city, and that's where the pyramid is, pyramid type structure is, and that's where the city is. So you have the giant tower, and then you have smaller cities, and she kind of is just going around, and flies into the giant walking city's ear, and inside the ear is a man and his dog, and she comes to him, and he says, "Whoa, wait. Oh, it's you. I take it the map was wrong again. Suppose you'll be wanting this." And I'm not entirely sure what that is. Is that a periscope? Is that not? That's not what they call it. What do they call it when you it's kind of a periscope, I guess. But she flies up to some kind of horn, and she makes the horn do some funny sounds, and it awakens the walking city creature, changing him into something else. And then you go back to the dog and on top of the creature's head, and they're all kind of awakened by her doing that musical note or whatever it is, and it seems like they're all awake now. And the map drawer is very excited. He was very sad, and he gets to be very excited. And you go back to the king or whoever is dying in his bed. Did anyone else feel that just now? And these sad people who are at the dead person's bed, we have changed course finally. So you realize that one of the things that she has wanted to do is change the course of the creature that's walking around, that has the city on top of its head. So you go back to the drug-addled people, because they definitely are drug-addled at this point. And one of them says, "Huh? Tracy, wake up. Remember that angel we saw?" And that was she who lost her name. And I think we're going home. So there's a lot to unpack there. I'm not going to go into the second story. It's very cool, but I really only have time to do the first story, The Flight, which is really what I kind of really enjoy the most. And the second one's Yellow, Tall, and Catherine. And I love the colors. The colors are just so vibrant and out there. So that's Flight. And that's kind of my thoughts on it. I guess it's not a silent comic, as I kind of was thinking it was. It's just that the dialogue is so sparse, and you really have to kind of travel along with the characters and until there is some dialogue, and kind of navigate through what the story is and all of that stuff. So I really think this is a wonderful book, and you should really go get it from his website, www.catchcalv.com. That's www.catchvalve.com. And it's Christopher Knox. So I highly recommend it. I think it's really a great read. Story-wise, it's a little perplexing, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's something you'll have to reread, decipher for yourself. Maybe we can get him to say a few words about what his thought process was on the book, and some of the characters and some of the storyline. and that would be really fantastic. So but it's really a fun read. I love the characters. I love all of the different characters. They're so emotional. He has so much emotion in all of his characters and in everything, not just his characters, his whole world. This whole world building is alive and breathing. You see that from the colors to the textures to the characters to the tone. The overall tone is, like I said, it's a little bit of a sadness, but then towards the end, it breathes in some positivity. So that's another really great thing to be able to capture some emotion and to change it from one emotion to another. That's really a rare thing that you can do in comics or any kind of medium, really. It's very rare and special. So anyway, this is Sundries #2, Flight. And I really think it's a fantastic read, and I encourage you to get it. I'm not going to give it a number, but hell, I'll give it a 10. It's really everything that I think a comic book should be. It challenges you. It gives you story. It gives you emotion. It gives you fantastic characters that you've never seen before and you'll never see again other than when he does it. I'm giving it a 10. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing and giving me a thumbs up and hitting the notification bell. And so go to catchcalv.com and get yourself a copy or some of his other stuff. It's got all kinds of his other stuff, Space Bear and everything like that. So let me know what you guys think of Chris's work. And if you have any other comments, please let me know. And I will talk to you guys later.